2, Martha's Vineyard illegal immigrants were arrested on the same day in the latest ice bus on these wealthy liberal islands. Several illegal immigrants have been arrested on the Massachusetts islands of Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket recently. 2 more illegal immigrants accused of crimes were arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, on Martha's Vineyard on the same day recently. These arrests are the latest migrants apprehended on the affluent islands off the coast of Cape Cod in Massachusetts. On September 17th, ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations, or ERO, Boston team tracked down a 36-year-old Brazilian fugitive to Oak Bluffs. This individual was wanted by his own country's authorities and had skipped out on a 10-year prison sentence for drug trafficking, officials said. This fugitive was convicted of international drug crimes in Brazil, and instead of serving his debt to society, he chose to run and hide on Martha's Vineyard, said ERO Boston Acting Field Office Director Patricia H. Hyde. Our officers are the best in the world at finding people who don't want to be found. ERO Boston will continue our mission to prioritize public safety by apprehending and removing egregious non-citizen offenders from our New England communities. The Brazilian was lawfully admitted into the country in Orlando, Florida on March 7, 2020, but violated the terms of his legal admission, ICE said. However, unbeknownst to immigration officials who admitted him, he had been sentenced to more than 10 years in prison by a Brazilian court on May 10, 2012. Also, on September 17th, the agency arrested a 50-year-old Salvadoran national wanted by his own country's authorities for crimes against humanity who had been hiding out in the Martha's Vineyard town of Tisbury. This Salvadoran fugitive is wanted by authorities in his native country to face some extremely serious and disturbing allegations, Hyde said in a release, which did not identify the 50-year-old suspect. He attempted to hide out in Massachusetts and escape the law in his home country. He posed a substantial threat to the residents of Martha's Vineyard. ERO Boston will continue to prioritize public safety in all of our New England communities by arresting and removing egregious non-citizen offenders. The Salvadoran was apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol on November 27, 1994, after he crossed the U.S. border near Harlingen, Texas. On June 21, 1995, an immigration judge ordered his deportation back to El Salvador. Years later, on July 6, 2003, the same man was convicted of disorderly conduct in a Portland, Maine Superior Court and sentenced to a fine and court costs. Officers with ERO Boston arrested the man in 2009 but released him on an order of supervision via the Alternatives to Detention program, the agency said. The program, which began in 2004, uses monitoring technology and case management to ensure non-citizen compliance with release conditions, court hearings and final orders of removal, according to the agency. However, he violated the terms of the program, was apprehended by the agency again on May 18, 2010, and was deported a second time on June 20, 2011. The man remains in ERO custody. The nature of his crimes in his own country and the timing of his arrest there are unclear. ICE told Fox News that it did not release the identities of the 2 men arrested on September 17th because the charges stem from their home countries, and revealing their identities could give their legal representation cause to complain that they can't receive a fair trial if their identities are exposed. The 2 arrests are the latest on the wealthy liberal islands of Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. On September 3rd, 24-year-old Brazilian illegal immigrant Wally Neto was arrested on Martha's Vineyard. According to ERO Boston, he faces 5 counts of raping a Massachusetts minor after he entered the United States illegally at the Paso del Norte border region of Texas in 2018. In Nantucket, on September 10th, 28-year-old Salvadoran migrants Brian Daniel Aldana Arevalo and Elma Sola, both accused of sex crimes against children, were taken into custody by the agency. The next day, the agency arrested Brazilian immigrant João do Amaral Belafonte, who was charged with indecent assault and battery on a person 14 years or older on the island. Felix Alberto Perez Gomez from Guatemala, 41, was also arrested on the island that day and allegedly committed a sex crime against a Nantucket resident. On September 12th, documented MS-13 gang member Angel Gabriel Deras Mejia of Salvador was arrested on Nantucket, according to the agency.